Well, we legalized ourselves 2 shows ago. We were feeling like 22 last show, and now, would you say this is going to be Cap?
So it's the wrong lyrics, but coming back like Jordan wearing the 2-3, but it's supposed to be the 4-5, but we'll go with it.
Nobody liked the 4-5, anyways.
No.
Yeah, no, we tend to block that out of our memories, but it's all good. Episode 23 of 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. I'm Brian Cady. That's Albany Academy varsity head coach Brian Capitula. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I did it. I do have a quick question for you. What in the hell is that? Like mirrored cats in the background on that painting behind you?
It's 2 Boston Terriers. Because I have Boston Terriers, and it's with I think it's, what does it say? Boston Terrier Brewing Company is what it says.
Okay. So absolutely no relation to Boston University then?
No, nothing Boston University. Although we do have Boston University stuff because their Terrier logo looks similar to our old dog. But
is there a team you don't have merch for at this point?
Wofford. Wofford, I don't have anything. They're Boston Terriers too. There's you'd be surprised. There's more. I don't know why Boston Terriers were a big thing at some point, but Boston, you get it. Like Terriers were the sign of wealth in Boston. That's why they're. But and they're not really Terriers, which is even more knowledge. So
I did not know this. I guess I feel more intelligent after that. I don't know. I will leave that to the eye of the beholder. Anyways, for this episode of the podcast, coming out my way, the 2 guests are not necessarily there, but it's a quick jaunt up Route 30 to the top of the hill. You take that right onto Miami Avenue, and there it is. The beautiful, the wonderful Amsterdam High School, home of the Rugged Rams. I'm not sure if I'm doing my best Barry Rouse impression or not, so we'll let Barry be the judge of that. We got Amsterdam varsity head coach, Mr. Eric Duemler, and about to be a freshman, and unfortunately is now dealing with braces for the 2nd time in her life. I apologize in advance for that. Mia Natale. Mia, coach, welcome to the program. How are you both doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. First things first. All apologies to the braces again. How recent was this development, and are you okay with it? It is what it is. Like, how you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I've had them for like almost, I think, a little bit over a year now.
So I'm late to the party. I didn't notice it at all while doing the holiday showcase last year. My bad. Coach, you can discipline me later on. I don't know why I didn't notice that.
go ahead. Hi guys. Thanks for coming on for sure. I'll start with Coach. Just kind of get some questions out of the way, but obviously, we know your background, Coach, and how much success that you've had, and you've been in Amsterdam for such a long time. But could you just get into like how you started at Amsterdam? Like, how long have you been there? Like, what was that process when you first kind of started coaching and took on the job at Amsterdam?
Well, November will be 24 years for me as the girls' varsity coach, and over 2 decades ago, the plan was to hire me to take over for Coach Settner and the boys team. And that was the process leading up to the interview. And I don't know, maybe a week before that happened, somebody internally had put in, so there's a change of plans. And I'm working in this unit at the time. And they said, Coach, would you like to coach the girls? And I had never even seen a girls basketball game. That's how distant I was from the girls game 2 decades ago. And I was unsure, and I went to the interview and was hired. And one of my good friends, Coach Ciccanelli, who was my mentor, said, listen, let's go watch a couple of the women practices. So we went and watched Coach Warner at UAlbany. We watched Siena. We went to Union. I'm like, oh, wow. You coach, they're athletes. The girls are athletes, just like the boys. You can coach them hard. You can, up and down the court, all that kind of stuff. So that took away any of my worries. And, a few years into it, I think they wanted me to come back to the boys' side because that's where I had started many years ago. And, after starting with the program with the girls, it was just the right fit. And, I wouldn't leave for anything. And now in November will be 24 years and no regrets.
That's great. I think you're on mute.
I'm an idiot. It's okay. I'm fine. Listen, this is our second podcast of the day, and I'm just not all there right now. But I do have to say, to add a little bit to that, though, technically you're a traitor if we really want to break it down, Coach. Because you're technically a Patriot at heart from
True.
just down the road at Broad Albion, Perth. So just gonna put that out there. I mean, when you first started coaching there, Mia, don't worry, I'll get to you. I'll get to you, Mia. But when you first took over in Amsterdam, any snide comments at all from any of your fellow alumni from BP, or like, what's going on here? Or was your family
Not
kind of
really.
conflicted?
When I first started, we were in the Big Ten, so we never played BP until we moved to the foothills in, I don't know, 2016 or 2017. So my cousin, actually, Mike Maglioka, was the coach there for a little while. So we would scrimmage in the summer or get together from time to time, but we never played them. It was never really a rivalry. They have a power team now. In the last couple of years, they've gotten us, but I don't know, the first 7 or 8 years we played them, we never lost to them. So now, we're the underdog in that matchup, and Mia and her young crew, that's one of our goals is to beat, that senior laden team. And I guess it's a rivalry now. So yeah, no, nobody says anything. The funny thing is my sister is married to Tim Munn, who was on a state finalist team there. And his dad, when I was at school, was the superintendent, and the gym is named after him, which is pretty cool. When I go in, I see his name on there, and he was a great man. And, that's a cool aspect when we go to Broad Albion.
That's right. Now, here's a question for Mia. So, Mia, obviously, you haven't even stepped foot yet in a high school building, right? So you're still what is it like? And Coach can probably, he's such great players come through and everything like that. But what is it like kind of knowing, like, I'm going into the 9th grade year and I might be the leader of this team already this young? Is that something that, like, you feel pressured, or is that kind of something that you've already kind of like understood what that pressure might come being one of the better players?
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of pressure, but I know I definitely have a lot of support, and I feel comfortable enough with my team and with Coach that it's really no big deal anymore.
Yeah, I told her age is only a number. It doesn't matter when you step on the court to have the mentality that you're the best player. When I had me in elementary school, and in 2nd or 3rd grade, we're doing a basketball unit. And I look down to the other end of the gym, and Mia's running the passing station, organizing these boys and girls, where to stand, how to do a bounce pass, without me even going over that with her. I'm like, oh, whoa, that kid's, has a built-in leadership, and, beyond being intrinsically motivated, to the highest level, her leadership has started to come out a little bit more this summer. And the girls look to her. Doesn't matter what grade you're in. If you put the time in. You've had a lot of young star athletes at Albany Academy too. It doesn't matter. The kids know. They know who puts the time in.
Listen, Coach, I don't know if age is just a number to cap anymore.
Listen, I'm 52, so I'm sure Coach Cap is younger than I am. So
I'm a horrible co-host. I can't help myself. Mia, just to jump in, obviously you've been gaining a lot of traction on the hardwood. Any other sports you were playing when you were younger, going through grade school, and do you plan on playing other sports while you're in Amsterdam the next 4 years?
Yeah, so I've always been a softball player, and recently I actually took a break from that and I started doing track. So I definitely plan on doing either one of those in the spring.
I'm sure, Coach, you know, you would encourage your athletes. I'm assuming to, you know,
Well, she could be a 4 varsity sports star. She was very good at cross country for the first time doing it. She can windmill. I don't know if she could throw a fastball past me, but she has the ability to do whatever she wants. So I know she's in the weight room, which is a big thing I'm on her about. So she's working on her body and um, getting ready to take on that responsibility that's going to come with her position.
I mean, it sounds like something coach might have to have a sprint if he's able to hit one of your fastballs or not at some point. That might come up later this year. Make sure you take him up on that. Throw it right by him.
Yep, I will.
Now, Coach, you've been coaching. Like you said, this will be your 24th year. You said coming into this year. How different? Like obviously, we won't even go back to the year one, but like even 10 years ago, how different is like the athlete now for the girls' side? Do you feel like than it even was like 10 years ago that you've seen?
Well, there's so many more opportunities for the girls. 2 decades ago, there was like 2 or 3 AAU teams that girls could play on, the Sparks, Albany Capitals, maybe, like the City Rocks or something. So we had to start our own 20 years ago because many of our girls didn't have that opportunity or maybe weren't talented enough to play it. Now, there's so many things going on in the spring. They have extra things in the summer. You can play fall ball. And I think they're catching up to the boys on that side with opportunity and just playing more. Our kids have trainers now. And, that stuff never happened, 2 decades ago. So the game has definitely grown. And I think you see it with the high level. Section 2, Section 2 is a strong area for girls basketball. And you see it year after year, which is a positive.
So I am very well aware about the Amsterdam AAU program that was existing because this is a story I haven't told you yet, Cap. So you'll laugh at this. So for 2 years I was helping coach for Sparks, and an assistant under now SUNY Cobleskill head coach Megan Bowman. And I'm not sure, Coach Duemler, you might remember this. My first introduction with Amsterdam basketball was us playing an AAU tournament in Massachusetts at American International.
Yes,
and
I do.
In one of, I can't remember if it was a pool game. I think it was our last pool game of the tournament. We got scheduled against this team. Now, mind you, I only just moved to Amsterdam like 6 months prior, so I'm clueless. Sitting on the opposite bench for Amsterdam, and I could be wrong about this, Antonia May,
Yes.
Jackie Stanovich, Sydney Hafes, and
Andy
Gannon. Yeah.
Yes.
So no big deal. Just, a D1 prospect, a D2 player. Andy was D2, went to FM for a little while. Just, And then Sydney's what? She's playing D3 right now, I think. So no big deal. Just 4 future college players.
I remember that game.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there and Meg's looking at me at one point. I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? I don't know. They are who they are. Like, you coach at Scotia right now. You should know them by now, but whatever.
I do remember that.
That was my introduction to Amsterdam and Coach Duemler.
Well, can I apologize now, or is it too late?
I forgave myself for even trying in that game years ago, so it's okay. Yeah, because obviously I've gotten to know most of those girls now, and
great kids.
It's okay. I forgive it.
Yeah, he beat us. Like we definitely played him too. I remember, I don't know what gym we were in, Fort Ann or Fort Plain or something, and his team. I'm like, oh boy. He has his whole high school kids, and I think at that point, Mia Jackson was playing with him a little bit or had back and forth. So Andre was young. I see this kid. He's in the gym. He's like getting up high and laying the ball and dunk. I'm like, this kid's got to be like 9th grade or 8th grader maybe. And they took care of us pretty easily. I'm like, okay, well, this is not fair. These guys are already too good. And then watching them and finding out like, oh, these kids are only in 9th grade. Holy cow. So it's
kind of the mix we have now with Mia and her group. many of our top players are 8th grade through 10th grade, or going into 8th, going into 10th. So, there's pros and cons to that, but, they have a high work ethic. So, coach, you have high work ethic and kids that want to be in the gym. You can do a lot of things. And then they have parent support too. So I'm excited about the future with that group.
Sure. No.
So, Mia, this is something that I feel stupid for not following up on earlier, because you did mention track and field. So did you happen to be someone that was big into watching, like, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone or Sha'Carri Richardson at all during the Olympics, or was this one of those things where, Coach Harris has got me busy with team takeoff. I'll just kind of whatever. I'll catch it when I catch it.
It was a mix of both. I saw, I think, a few races in the Olympics, and they were really cool, but I also was really busy, so I didn't really have that much time to just sit and watch them.
Yeah, if you walked into the Natale family, I would imagine 4 calendars on the refrigerator between the 2 girls and boys, and everyday blocks. So I'm not sure when there's any free time in that household. Very, very little.
A lot of gas mileage, I'm assuming, being put on the vehicles from the sounds of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Mia, at this point, obviously you're still very young in your basketball career, and we're looking forward to like what comes. But at this point, what is your favorite part about like the process so far? Like for you, like is it like just playing with your friends? Is it like competition? Like, what do you feel like is your favorite part of it currently?
Yeah, I definitely love the competition. I'm very competitive. I do not like to lose in anything, especially basketball. But the best part for me is definitely the new connections I make. Like, every single team I've been on, we've all grown to be almost like a family. And I've had multiple like second families, and it's just nothing compares to those.
Yeah, and Coach had mentioned along the lines of the influx of youth right now with the program, particularly with having 4 seniors move on from this past year's team, and 2 of the key cogs on that team last year on the varsity level was yourself and freshman Ellie Tirado. Did you two like kind of confine each other at all because you were so young and being put right there right away, right into the starting 5, or did you, or was it kind of one of those things where you just kind of felt things out for yourselves?
So the thing is, me and Ellie have been playing together since she was in, I think, 4th grade and I was in 3rd. She's like my sister. She's at my house all the time. I'm at her house all the time. So we definitely had some arguments because, again, we have that sister connection. But we also did like grow closer from that. And she definitely was one of the main support systems I had.
Now, Coach, you obviously you've had some like really great players over the last few years, but even way before the last few years, you've had some really great players. Do you have any one player that like you really sticks out to you as someone that kind of built Amsterdam basketball and started the whole process of you guys really being a one of the best teams in our area, not only like in the Big Ten with how crazy that schedule used to be, but also like being a powerhouse in our area for so long?
If you don't mind, I would like to name a couple. My very first year, Cady Seward, who went on to become a doctor in Amsterdam, she was my very first captain. Her mom was our first booster parent, and she was just a great leader on a team. And when I took over that team, we weren't very good, and we just had to really start to build and start to work. And she had that type of work ethic. Obviously, she's a doctor, how difficult that is. And I mean, Brittany Staher was our first Division I player. She went to Bryant University, and she was just a fearless kid on the court, super tough, would win every 50-50 ball, and had just great leadership. Mia broke Megan Gogler's 3-point record this year as an 8th grader, and Megan Gogler was one of the best players we've ever had. Went on to Skidmore, high academic kid. She's a doctor also, and had 59 threes. She was the highest in our school. early on, those girls started the program. And then with our camps, all the kids would come and want to see Brittany or want to, see Megan. And then the next thing you know, we have Nina Fadula, who went on to St. Rose and started there for 5 years. She's a 1,500-point scorer for us. And Juliana Pritchard, 1,200-point scorer. She went on to play at Oneonta and at Sage. And then the group that Brian was just talking about, that COVID. I know COVID cost you guys an opportunity, and it cost us. We had 3 scholarship kids and 2 Division III kids on that team, and we couldn't compete. And that's, Andy Gannon, Tony May, Jackie Stanovich, Sid Hayes, and CC Goodson, who's at Cobuskill. So it's kind of like you get a good group early, and you connect the young kids with them, and then they want to be those kids. And then the next thing you know, they are the next group. And it's kind of just kind of feeds into each other. And many times some of our kids have come up to me or the mothers, and they would be like, hey, Andy was at camp and she was so excited to get a picture with so-and-so. Now Andy's the next star. And,
Sure.
And kind of me is in that role now, being in that next group, hopefully, and kids in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade are going to want to be a Mia Natale. They're going to want to, beat her shooting record, or they're going to do this or that, and it just kind of feeds into each other, and that's always the plan. That's a great question, though.
If you're checking out the show on YouTube, this will just verify what Coach was just saying about the single season 3-point record. By the way, Coach, before I ask my question for Mia, do you do all these graphics that you put on Facebook all the time? Is this all you?
On Facebook, yes. Sometimes you'll see things pop up on Twitter, and our amazing athletic trainer Carla does those things. But, on our Facebook page and my Twitter basketball page, I'm into that kind of stuff. So you'll see the videos now. I'm into droning, and I know it's kind of nerdy, and the girls like to make fun of me about it. And I did bring the drone in for a workout last summer, which was pretty cool. But Cap, I had to hide in the PE office because you have to wear it's an FPV drone. You have to wear goggles, and for sure, Mia and her friends would have their phones out and I don't know, putting me live or whatever they do. I don't really know. So I had to lock in the office and chase them around with the drone a little bit.
I ended up somehow in a viral video that had like 60,000 views, and they're like, "Oh, you're in a video. Look, you got 60,000 views." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, guys."
You can't. There's zero chance I trust them not to do that. So, you understand fully.
Well, as somebody who's lived in Amsterdam now for 7 years and has figured out how Amsterdam kids work, yes, you're absolutely correct. That's exactly what happened. But Mia, you're no slouch yourself as far as the classroom. Like I know, Coach just mentioned a doctor, a person that went to Skidmore, this and that. You're not a bad athlete. You're a student yourself. A nice 4.0 GPA, I believe, is what I saw in the bio for your time at the New York State Fair coming up next week, which we'll get to in a little bit. What's it like for you, and who is the one that usually is providing the motivation for you to maintain that delicate balance between being an athlete as well as a good student in the classroom?
Yeah, so my parents definitely push that a lot, that your academics are even more important than sports. So they always are making sure, checking up on me, that I have everything done. And that's mostly it, because they won't let me do anything if my grades aren't done. But also self-motivation, because I'm really hard on myself. I don't like getting bad grades. I don't like having bad games. So I push myself too.
And Mia, it's a younger brother, right? Your brother's younger than you are?
I have one older brother, one younger brother, one younger sister.
Okay. Now, has it started yet in your household? Because I know your father coaches as well for the City Rock boys and is coaching you guys in the state fair thing. Has the rivalry started, in terms of, are you guys keeping track of wins and losses at this point, in the driveway?
Yeah, tons of rivalries. I have a lot with my older brother because obviously we're closer in age. We're only a year apart.
Okay.
I also am starting to have some with my younger brother. Yeah, and him and his friends.
So they all want it. They all want a piece of it now at this point.
Yeah, they all think because I have I have a shooting record, they all think it's really funny to be like, well, I can shoot better than you. And then it always just ends up in a competition.
I can see it.
Listen, if you have problems with Lil Rocco, just call Coach, and I'm sure Coach Duemler will set him straight. It's all good.
Oh, her dad has them all in line, so.
All right. Um, Coach, like the college players that have come out, especially in recent years. And I know I'm sure I'm missing one or two, but the list I could come up with off the top of my head, from just the last few years, we're talking Juliana Pritchard, went to Hartwick, went to Sage, Antonia May, who went to, I believe it was UMBC first before transferring to Cobleskill, Jackie Stanovich playing at Mercy, Andy Gannon, she was D2, then went to FM, and I think she's going back to a D2 program. Don't quote me.
Queens.
Queens? Yeah. See, I know some stuff. Sydney Hapes playing D3, Rosie Skulko playing D3, Shasha Cooper D3. Felice is going to be playing at Mohawk Valley Community College coming up, starting this fall. What is it about this program? And even before that, obviously, Nina Fadulo, you mentioned with St. Rose and all the other players from the past. What has it been about this program that you've helped steer the ship for, that's produced these kinds of players so consistently over the years, where they get those looks to go on and play at the next level and be a student athlete on the college level?
Well, you nailed almost all of the recent ones. Just Annie Fadulo, she's going to Oswego too to play. So Nina's little sister. But to answer your question, it's really just giving girls an opportunity. So right from early on, we traveled a ton. We've always had really good support with our administration, which is important, our athletic director, our school board. They've allowed us to travel to events out in Rochester during the season. We took the girls to Montreal for a huge event, and they got to play ice hockey. Actually, we were better than the Canadian teams playing ice hockey, but they beat us up on the court playing under the FIBA rules. They let us go to New York City each year. And, so in New York City, Tony May, for an example, was seen multiple times by UMBC. And they jumped on board right away. And, we put video together for them. And they came to a practice. And the next thing you know, she's offered. And it's just about giving girls an opportunity. They have, they work hard year round. And they play other sports also. But, just want basketball to be their girlfriend on the side. You could play soccer, you could play whatever. That's cool. It's good for them physically. And then find a little bit of time for basketball. And really that's what they've been able to do. And I think, I don't know, the number's up to 50, I think, with Annie and with Felice. So very, more than any wins or championships or anything else, having 50 girls go on to follow their dreams and to become a college student athlete, that's something that I'm, super proud of.
Now, Mia, obviously, Coach just described a bunch of girls that have come before you. Is there anyone that you, like, whether you're growing up in Amsterdam, anybody that you remember watching, like either going to games or like hearing about it all?
Yeah, one or a few big ones were definitely Jackie Stanovich, Annie Gannon, Tony May, and Sydney. I looked up to Sydney for a really long time.
Now, are they somebody that like will still come? No, I'm friends with Coach, I think, on Facebook somehow indirectly. So I think that, like, is there ever a time where you can't get in the gym where Coach will tell you, no, you can't go in the gym? I know the answer already because I've seen the things like getting up at 600 shots on a Wednesday at 6 a.m. But is there a time like where you can't get in the gym?
No, Coach always makes sure if I ask, he'll get me in. Even he'll bring it up sometimes for me, and we'll still get in. And I'm always good for it. He's always good for it.
Yeah, she doesn't miss. But, Coach, the other part of that is, what else do I tell you that you need, Mia? Rest.
Oh yeah.
Needs the rest because she doesn't stop and she jumps in every activity there is, and her body's growing. She's getting taller slowly but surely, and she just needs to rest her body sometimes. Your girls work hard through the season and all through AAU, so I know the AA girls have to do the same thing. They need a time to just recover a little bit.
Right.
And I'm sure, Coach, if you said no for any reason, I'm sure her father would just go like shoulder block through one of the gym doors and get her in there somehow. So it's all good. Just going to Mia here. I briefly referenced earlier Team Takeoff, the program that you took part in for AAU, run by Will Harris. What was it like? What was it like spending the past spring and early summer with that program and being able to learn some things from Will?
Yeah, that like those girls, they're like my sisters. It was definitely, I learned a lot. We always competed in practice. All of us were all around the same age. We're all around the same skill, and it was just great competition.
Now, Coach, you obviously have had teams that have just been state final teams and teams that win leagues and win sections and everything like that. What is it like now? Like, and I don't want to say rebuilding because it's more like reloading and starting over a little bit from just because your players are younger. But what is it like now? Like, kind of, do you enjoy kind of getting back to some basic stuff and being able to teach these kids like on the ground floor, like with what you want them to do because they're so young, they're still able to listen to you?
Yeah, right off the bat, I enjoy being the underdog, going into practice, using it as motivation for the kids, and going into a game where you're favored to win by 20 or 30 points. Sometimes it's hard to motivate your group. So we're on the uptick, and they're so young that I keep telling them to trust the process. Sure. I tell them that all the time in text messages and in group chats because it's going to take a little bit of time. I can remember Andy Gannon's group that Brian mentioned. We're at an FM tournament. They're all 8th or 9th graders, and we got beat up a little bit, but I saw some positive things, and I saw some, that they competed. And, Mia, who teams focused on, like, listen, just compete, just battle. You have to, Mia's so hard on herself. I don't know, Coach, if you ever say to be a duck, I tell Mia all the time, be a duck. Keep that same face, whether you're having a great game or if you're missing all of your shots. Keep pushing and stay focused on it. And with our young group, I'm just telling them to trust the process. We're going to keep growing and keep getting better. And I can see, we have a girl going into 8th grade, Emma Rougeau, plays with the City Rocks, and a very talented kid, and played with us all summer. And I saw so many improvements with her. Ellie Tirada was at a workout this morning with Mia and I, and she's coming off a meniscus surgery and shot really well and played well. And it's just exciting to have, we have a 5'11" big kid going into 9th grade that's very raw and is at everything. So the kids want to be there, and that motivates me even more as a veteran older coach. And it's exciting to see them develop, and we just try to keep, as coaches, we just try to keep them, hey, like I said, trust the process, keep working. It'll, I can see this success happening in the future. It's hard for them because they haven't been there, but I can see it because I see the individual pieces coming together.
Now, Mia, obviously, Coach Duemler, he's the captain of the ship, but there's a cast of characters that ride the bench with Coach Duemler. Is there a particular assistant coach out of the I think 3 or 4 that usually sit on the bench with Coach that you're a little more drawn to than the others, or you think is funnier than the others? Anyone in particular you could think of?
So Coach Verini, she's the JV coach, and I had her in 7th grade. We have a connection. She's always there. I can always vent to her. Then Coach Edick, he's always really funny. He's always getting super mad. He's always yelling. But then, like, also has, like, a soft, like, funny side to him during practice. So yeah,
Everyone loves the assistant coaches.
They're always your best buddies.
Yeah, Coach Edic's one of my closest friends too, and he was the varsity boys football coach for a long time, and he's come on board the last couple of years, and he's the one that I have to yell at about the refs. Like when I was a younger coach, that was always an issue for me, and I've learned to be able to control that a little better. And I'm like, Doug, don't you dare get a technical. And the players, they like it when he gets fired up because he is like a kind-hearted, great guy.
He's still in a football mindset. That's probably why, because you
At times
you have a little more latitude on the football sideline than you do on a basketball.
Oh,
sideline.
for sure. I hear our football coaches. I can't believe what happens on the football sideline. Yeah, big difference.
Coach, in terms of you've had so many great accomplishments and everything like that, is there one team or one accomplishment up until this point that you're most proud of?
Our one thing that stands out all the time is our 2007 team. Actually, you could go right into 2006 also, but that team, I knew we were going to be talented because I think in 2006 they had won 20, 21 games in a row. So the next year we really amped up our schedule, kind of like what you do, to the highest level. We went down to New York City and played Christ the King, and our bus took a wrong turn. And in the city, when you take the wrong turn, you're 30 minutes out. And Coach Mackey was still the coach then, and we walked in. And the girls were like 6'4", 6'2", and I see them and my coaches see them like, holy crap. And we just kept the girls going right to the locker room, came out, warmed up, and we beat them by 10 or 12 points. But if we had been there and they had seen those kids, they might have been intimidated, but we just kind of shuffled them in the locker room. Later that year, they beat a JFK team out of the Bronx that was a state power team. And I think we were ranked number one in the state most of that year or all that year. So that team definitely stands out, and that had Brittany Staher on it and Megan Gogler, Ashley Wellatock. I had a number of college kids on it.
I remember to unmute myself before I started speaking that time. That's a good job on my part. Speaking of the busy summer that you've been going with, Mia, the AAU, I briefly mentioned the state fair coming up. You also took part in a little combine that was run by NYS Takeover with Jeff Milnar. What was that opportunity like for you to be able to get in there and, look to, get to work out with all these different kids from Section 2 that you otherwise may not ever cross paths with, and being able to play against that kind of talent?
Well, first, it was really nice because it was just all my age and all my grade. So I knew a lot of people there. And it was even competing against each other. There's obviously a little bit of edge to it. But then when we get put on one team, it's just nice that we're building a connection there. It was also very competitive, and it was just really good to see all that. And Jeff, the guy that runs it, he's great too with all the exposure that he gets you and all the colleges there, and it was just really nice.
We'll make sure Jeff does not hear that compliment.
We won't tell him.
No, not. It's not like he's going to see me enough at all this coming season. Not at all. It's all good.
No, Coach, obviously, being as coaches, there's always a strong support system, whether they like it or not all the time. But obviously, your wife and your family obviously play a big part of you being a coach and doing what you're able to do and what you love. Just speak about how important is that to you, having the family balance and having the family time, but the support that you do get from your family. What has that been like?
Yeah, it's definitely an important part of my life, and it starts right with my parents. They still come to games even in their mid-70s. My brother, my sister, they bring their kids that have come to games, and that support system, is huge. My wife, we're going on, we just had our 10th year anniversary. And when I first met my wife, Kim, she didn't even know how many girls were supposed to be on the basketball court at the same time. And she's sitting next to another mom, and together they're trying to figure out, is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? And when we first met, she told me she was a softball person. So I'm like, oh, she was a softball person. Like, okay, so this is going to be fun. And Yeah, she's fantastic. I mean, the stresses and being able to balance our life schedule together, and for me to be able to go to workouts or weekend events or whatever it is, she's been supportive right from day one. And I try to show that with our players too, because that's what you want. You want a family atmosphere with your team, and I have to show that part of it in my life too, personally.
So I just wanted to get a perspective from both of you on this next topic I wanted to bring up. And obviously, Coach, you can provide a little more historical perspective when I bring this up. But if there's one specific family that really represents Amsterdam girls basketball for the last decade, I would say specifically, it has to be the Fadulo family. Between Nina playing and then coming back and helping assist last year, Elena then coming through, and then obviously Annie just graduated a couple months ago. Um, so just to, I'll start with Mia first. What was it like to not be able to play with Annie and what she was like as a senior leader on the team, but then also kind of get to see the dynamic between her and her older sister being an assistant coach as well.
Yeah, it was Annie is a great leader. She knows the game. She knows her position. And with her and her sister, they obviously had a closer connection because they're family, they're siblings, but they also kept it professional at the same time. Annie respected her sister. She didn't talk she really didn't talk back to her. And yeah, it was just really cool to see because I have a younger sister, and maybe one time I'll get to do that.
And then Coach, obviously, you got to coach all three girls, and obviously the whole family. They're fantastic to deal with. I know they're a big part of helping out around the school community and stuff. Just talk about what it's been like to being able to have that family be a part of what you've been able to accomplish the last decade or so.
Yeah, we definitely need more families like that. Actually, Nina's dad, Lou, just got inducted into the Amsterdam Hall of Fame. And their aunt, Angela, who's on our top 10 scoring list, she's in the Hall of Fame also at Amsterdam. And they're just very positive. It's the type of family you want to be part of your program. And when Mia just mentioned that Annie wouldn't talk back to Nina, Nina's intense. And she's especially intense in a game. And I wouldn't want to see what would happen if Annie did talk back to Nina. But Nina has been a varsity assistant the last couple of years and also worked at our modified level. And she's going to be a student teacher in Galway starting in the fall. So, having that family, I mean, as a coach, as a head coach, you wish you had more families like that where the parents are involved. They're helping, all along the way, and encouraging their kids to, be great students and student athletes. That's exactly what you want as a head coach.
And trust me, as someone who announced a few of those St. Rose games that Nina played, I totally get what you mean about the switch that goes off once in a while with her when she was on the court. So
yeah, I try to teach that to our younger players. Brittany Staher was the same way, where every drill and practice was like the last drill of their life. And that's how they practiced and that's how they competed. And you try to get the younger kids, especially in 2024 to buy into that and to compete like that. And that's how you become great. And, I'm sure Coach Cap does the same thing with his kids, try to instill that in them to compete like that. And that's how Nina was, for sure.
Now, Mia, the first time, obviously this year, you broke some record. There was records broken by you, and the team had some good wins. So the first time you see yourself either in the paper or on TV, what is that like? Like, is that like I remember being like a student athlete and getting my name in the paper because I don't even know if cameras were invented yet. But like in terms of when you see that kind of stuff, like, is that something that's like that? I guess something that makes you gives you more energy and adrenaline when you see those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, one game was actually on my birthday, and I ended up getting a picture in the paper, and it's just it gives me even more motivation because it kind of shows me oh, my work is paying off. I'm getting kind of recognized, and it's just nice hearing my grandparents calling me oh, Mia, you're in the paper, and it's just I don't know, it's just a good feeling.
And I'm sure they buy like 4 or 5 copies,
Yeah.
and they tell you like, "Hey, like I know I'm in the paper, Grandma." Like, okay, that's enough. That's great.
Yeah, Mia, just so you know, cameras are definitely not invented yet because little does anybody know, Cap actually was one of the first players when the sport was invented at the YMCA under Dr. Naismith. So,
Damn.
he's aged very well, hasn't he?
No, the guy that aged very well. I never knew how old Coach was. Like I always would see him, like he'd always be sharp dressed, great shoes, like shirt and tie. And I'm like, man, is Coach like how old is Coach? Because he looks young, like he's going the other way, like he's.
I just went through my suit closet and got rid of 6 suits that don't fit like they used to fit. And I think, now since COVID, like it's you don't wear suits as often for sure. It was every game back in the day. And I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, listen, get these away from me because now I'm in a bad mood. And if I need a suit, we'll just go buy a darn suit. No big deal.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to run a tournament during the holiday season, suits are just not a good faux pas at all for that. Which is actually a good transition because I did want to ask you about that. The holiday showcase. How did I because you're also working at the high school and running the program, and I know like recently you're going and checking on your middle school students while they're playing travel ball. Like, where do you find the time to put this showcase together? And like, is this something like a 12-month, like a year-round planning session that you have going on with this tournament, or is this something where it's not quite as complicated as I'm making it out to seem like?
Well, it started as a 4-team tournament, and I actually stole the idea from my friend at JFK. After we beat them, he invited us to go to New York City so he can give us some teams that would beat us. And he had a huge event in the Bronx, and I saw all the college coaches, and like, oh, we need that, and we need to bring that upstate. And then the next year, it started to grow. We actually had Stephanie Dolson, who played at Menacing Valley at UConn, and she's in the WNBA, and she played on the Olympic team in the past too. She was on our court, and JFK beat them up, and then we played them the next year, and we had like 3 kids trying to guard Dolson, and it's kind of just grown. Was a 2-day event, maybe 10 teams, and now it's 3 days, and we have 21 teams in it. And we have a great team from Quebec, Canada, that's coming down. That's amazing. We have a team from Massachusetts, a private school that's very good. More Catholic from Staten Island, 2 New York City power teams. We have a number of the suburban schools, Greenwich, who may compete for a state title or be in that mix. They're coming for a game. So it's a mix of local teams and out-of-state teams, out-of-area teams. And we're filled by April. By the end of April, we're done. We're usually closed off. We had to turn away a team from Tennessee that caught wind of it and wanted to come up. And, you just hope now. It's kind of like when Joe Murphy runs his team camp in the summer. You hope that you don't get a phone call in October, hey, coach, this came up and we can't come, because then you're scrambling. And that has happened. A couple years ago, we lost a team, and Liverpool actually was stuck at the airport in a snowstorm, and I called them. I said, listen, just come back. We'll get you 2 games. And they came back, and, everybody was in the airport for 8 to 10 hours, and they couldn't go anywhere. So we got them to come back and play. And they're in our event again this year too, and they were a state finalist. So it's kind of just feeds, you put a lot of time into it, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages, a lot of contact stuff. Being I've been around for a while, I have some of that stuff. And then, it kind of grows, and you try to be organized, and we try to run it the right way. And we have a hospitality room for the refs, for the player or for the coaches and the college coaches. And we have 50 plus college coaches registered last year. And, hopefully we could get even more this year. And if one kid is seen that wouldn't normally be seen, it's all worthwhile. And we have great support with our school, our athletic director, John Sauls. He's there all day long with us. Our superintendent, our school board, they come and support it. And it's great for our community, the local hotels, our teams stay at, the restaurants, all that kind of stuff. So it's good for our community and for our girl student athletes.
So basically, you're warning me that for the second year in a row, I need to brush up on my French pronunciations.
Yes, you do. They're here for 3 games too, so you have to do it 3 times.
Awesome, even better. And we're not gonna have any fire alarm problems at all, like we did 2 years ago.
That's in the past. We don't even bring those up, Brian.
Okay, all right. I'm
I
gonna
can't
knock on my wooden desk.
The court, they got kind of like the sneak preview of the sand on the court, so that'll
the
be
whole thing. The
big
bleachers
deal.
got taken out. The mats. We haven't had any of the championship banners for 3 years, 4 years now. Brand new everything going in. So should be ready in October. That's why we were practicing or working out today at one of our elementary schools. So yeah, it's exciting. It's the first real renovation since I've been there. And I'm excited about it for the girls.
Hey, Mia, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about this new court?
10. Like, it's needed.
Yeah, major.
There was another question I had here. I feel like the one, like, if there's anything that pops to mind that shows the character of a program, the quality of a program around here, it's when you can see how many, if any, kids come back and are looking to work out or help other kids, younger kids, with their workouts. And I know, just looking back over things, like I know Jackie Stanovich has come back and done workouts the last couple of years. Rosie Skulko came back after her freshman season, and she was doing workouts with the team back in the early portion of the AAU season. What does it mean to you as a coach? And I'm sure, Cap, you can probably chime up the same thing too, about having kids that you coach coming back and looking to not just work out on their own in a familiar place to them, but also maybe want to help out that next generation that's coming after them, after they've already moved on, and willing to help work out with those kids as well.
For me, on my part of it, it's exciting. And like, we have, not only are they coming back to work out, but now they're coming back to coach in our program. So Nina worked with our modified team, and so did Taylor Flint, who played on some of our really good teams. So they were handling that. Gianna DeRosa is another ex-player that wants to be involved. Rosie Skulko coached our summer league team 1 game this summer when my wife and I were away. Juliana Pritchard's coming back to be a varsity assistant this year. So I just love having the girls that have been through our program over the last couple of decades, the leaders when they were players. Now they're young adults starting their exciting lives, and they continue to make fun of me for whatever, and I can harass them. And now they're young women. It's unbelievable when if someone comes back and now they're like 27, 28, 30, I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. Or if they're married. It's cool to have them back for sure. When they come to workouts, they play against me and they compete against their young kids and challenge them. And then now coming back as coaches, they can pass on some of our tradition and how we do things. And it just helps from one generation to the next. So then when me as a junior or senior, she's going to be passing that on also. And it's less work for me to have to worry about.
I want to see Mia Natale against Juliana Pritchard 1-on-1. That's what I want to see.
Who, Nina and Juliana?
No, Mia and Juliana.
Oh, Mia and Juliana. Well, they're going to have an opportunity this winter. So Juliana's another intense kid like Nina, and I'm, been talking to her the last 2 months and excited about her coming on board.
And Cap, do you mind providing your own perspective on that as well? That we were just, I just had.
Yeah, I think the big part when players come back, I think it's more of the relationship went further than just the basketball court, right? Like, a lot of the times everyone sees that, like, it's about wins and losses and how you perform on the basketball court. That part of the job as a coach, I think the success is fun, but I think it really means really little in the grand scheme of things. Is the relationships that you create when you are at the grocery store in 10 years and you see a player in one of the aisles like that with a little kid, and you're like, oh my God, how do you have a kid? And then they're willing to come back and they're willing to give their voice to the kids. I think that's the best part about coaching at this point. It's not really so much the basketball and the X's and O's are all fun, but I think it's the relationships that you can build with these players and then watch them become like really good mothers and wives and like really progress in their life. I think that's the best part about being able to coach these kind of athletes.
Yeah, it's not the wins and losses. It's all the other things, just like Coach Cap said. And those are the things that, that last a lifetime, and the memories that last a lifetime more than any one win or 3-point shot you made.
Especially when Mia makes a TikTok coach, that's going to be that's going to last a lifetime online this year when she takes a picture.
Oh yeah, lucky we don't have phones in practice.
Listen. Coach Duemler is going to close and lock that office door before anybody gets a shot. Yeah.
Oh, they're always ready. Believe me, I have to be on my toes.
Although I gotta be, because I got to know Ellie a little bit because she worked for the Mohawks this summer. So I have to ask, in your honest opinion, Mia, who's more likely to try and catch Coach off guard with those drone goggles, you or her?
Well, what normally happens is I'll try to get him to get his attention towards something else. He'll take the picture or the video.
Oh, they started to try to scare me on the bus as they walk by me. Mia distracts me, and then Ellie jumps out from nowheres and goes boo, and then they get me on video, and I'm like, oh my god, we're running extra tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I have to be on my toes. I have to be in a defensive position most of the time.
A tag team effort. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
all
God
right.
forbid I jump in a shell drill or something and I trip and fall. Thank God they don't have their cameras, because that happens. And my wife's like, Eric, you have to stop playing. And I'm like, sometimes you have to be out there.
Well, that's what Juliana's for, right?
Yes. And Nina last year.
Yeah. As long as Juliana stays healthy, they'll just get in.
Nobody wants to see me running around the court. Believe me.
Yeah, and sprints feel fine the day of the sprint. It's the
morning after when you wake up in bed.
Like, what did I do yesterday? Oh, that's right. I checked to a length of the court run, and now I can't move my whole right side. So,
listen, I play baseball now in the over 40 league in Albany. So, luckily, we have a hot tub, and I have a lot of time off.
Now that's what we need to see. We need to see in opposite dugouts on a baseball field, you and RJ Pingatore. That's what we need.
No, thank you. He's in the younger division.
He's playing. Is he playing Twilight League? Is he with the LA Athletics?
Yes, he is.
I mean, he's. I'll leave the smart comment for off the air about Ping. Anyways, all right. I have a section of questions called Life's Most Important Questions that just got expanded last show because Cap, the smart man, I originally came up with the original list of questions, and Cap decided to throw a couple curveballs in. Well, not curveballs, just additions. It's all good. Basically, I'll get the question. You get the first answer that comes to mind, or in your mind, whatever the correct answer is. We'll have Mia give her answers first, and then we'll have Coach chime in as well. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right. First question, and maybe the most hotly debated question that we've had the whole time. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Coach?
No. And I'm with Cap on this maybe it was Jeff talking about the bread and putting the two pieces of bread together with the deli meat. That's what I'm reminded of a sandwich. I like a good old Stewart's hot dog, but I wouldn't consider it a sandwich.
I don't know if I consider Stewart's hot dogs, but that's a different conversation for a different time. Gatorade, Powerade, or other when it comes to energy drinks?
If we're picking between Gatorade or Powerade, I'm gonna have to go Gatorade, but in general, I'm gonna have to say Body Armor.
Okay, Coach?
Well, Powerade Zero, I would have to say, because it's right next to me.
You might be the first person that said Powerade since we started this portion of the...
My wife is on this Powerade kick, so it helps bring it into the house, and it's convenient for me.
All right. Favorite flavors?
The yellow flavor or the dark blue flavor.
Yeah, for me, anything that's not like orange. Yeah, any of the darker colors.
And no orange. All Sport. Remember all Sport? That tasted like it was kind of carbonated. You're like, what is this?
Horrible.
Best flavor Starburst.
Pink.
Coach.
Yeah, listen, I'm with her on that one. Pink or the red.
Agreed.
Pink and red for
Red's the
sure.
right answer.
Yeah, I'm with her on that.
When it comes to sweets, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate, all the way. Chocolate.
Ice cream would be vanilla for me, but chocolate, candy, milk chocolate, not dark chocolate.
Okay. What goes in the bowl first, the cereal or the milk?
Cereal.
I wish I could be different on it, but it's cereal.
Listen, nobody has ever said milk on this show, but there is a former Sage player from my time announcing that I am friends with now, and she's a little psychotic, and she does the milk first. So
Well, what about where you pour the milk? My wife told me I pour it wrong because I go all the way around, and my wife just pours it in one spot so everything else stays dry. I don't know if that's
all the way around. So it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, that's how you do it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, I go all the way around, but I'm not one that has a strong opinion about it. Mia, do you go all the way around the bowl?
No, I pour it in one spot.
No, it must be a female thing.
Must be. Then you take the spoon, make sure everything gets underneath the milk before you start. Like, it's a whole process.
Well, I think the concept probably is instead of risking any spillage at any point, you're keeping it in one centralized location. Then you can stir it yourself. That would be my guess. Because
I turn into Tom Cruise from Cocktail when I pour the milk into the bowl. It thing might be 3-4 feet off the ground when I pour it. So.
Okay. Last question for this section. I do have one other question to end this show, but first, if you were on a deserted island and needed 2 people to assist you getting off that island, who are the 2 people you are picking?
That's a hard question. My dad and probably my mom. My dad and mom.
Okay. Coach, who are we going with?
I'm definitely bringing my dad because he's a builder and he could probably build a boat. He can build houses. I would probably bring my brother because he's a doctor and he's super smart and he'd be a good buffer for when my dad and I drive each other crazy. So I'd have to say my younger brother and my father.
That's a good answer with the buffer. That's a good answer right there.
You need one of those in families' atmospheres.
All right. The last question I have is for both of you because I absolutely adore this person. I deal with them when I come to the Amsterdam Showcase every Christmas. I deal with this person for some sectional and state tournament games. And then I have to tolerate them for 2 months every summer with the Mohawks. And I think Coach knows where I'm going with this. Carlo Pasquarelli is a wonderful, wonderful human being and does a lot of great work as a trainer and really trying to, tries to get Amsterdam involved with a lot of different technologies and different like tests going on for new technology. I'll start with me and then I'll go to Coach here. Your thoughts on Carla and how she is as a trainer?
I love Carla. I've been in her office too many times. She always knows exactly what to do. She always has the right things, and her like game ready or whatever, it's just the best.
Coach, obviously you've been around her for a long time, going back to her days where she was being brought in through St. Mary's, and now she's been able to chisel out an official position with the school district. Your thoughts on her and what she's able to bring to the table from a trainer's perspective, also from the perspective of a human being, because she's a fine individual as well.
Well, many, many years ago, her and her sister were in our basketball program. So that's where I first got to know, Carla and her sister. And she's just very pro athlete, very pro Amsterdam. And Cap would know, you have the trainer there. You don't have to worry about anything. She travels in New York City with us. She traveled to Montreal with us. wherever, if we're ready to go, we're trying to get a thing together where we're going to do an invitation in Puerto Rico. She'll travel with us in that too. So it's just one major thing that I don't have to worry about as a head coach. And beyond that, she's just on top of her game, and she's at a high level in her field. So it's a benefit for our athletes and our families, and for me as a head coach, and I'm sure all of our coaches at Amsterdam.
Although I'll say this, I don't know, her judgment may be a little clouded because that Kaz guy, I'm not so sure about Connor there. Might have to keep an eye on him if he wants to be. I'm kidding. Kaz is a good kid.
Look, he has you back every year somehow. I don't know how he does that. He must hit him on the head at the end of every year, and he forgets about how you announced all the games.
Anything else you want to chime in with my co-host, huh? All right. I see how that is. All right. I mean, fair. Minus the whole hitting Coach Duemler in the head. I don't do that. No, I don't do that at all. I might hit Carla in the head, but not Coach. Never Coach. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, it's been great to have you guys on. Obviously I've learned a lot about Amsterdam since moving out here in 2017, and it's been great to just be a part of the holiday showcase every year the last couple of years. So I want to thank you, Coach, for that, and thank you for coming on the show. And Mia, keep chucking and keep getting in that weight room, because I think you definitely have a bright future ahead. Because if you do anything like you did this past year, you're going places. So keep up the great work, and we'll definitely we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much too, and Coach Cap, good luck with your upcoming season.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
All right, that was Amsterdam varsity head coach Eric Duemler, and soon to be Amsterdam High School freshman Mia Natale. I'm sure she'll be happy to get away from those long walks, either down the back of the school or up the front steps of Lynch Middle School, because that's I can't even, as having a niece that's still going to Lynch, no. Especially those steps out in front.
Well, the stairs in front. I was going to say, I've been there. All the stairs in front.
Nah, forget about it. No, thank you. That all being said, Cap, you got anything you'd like to add on?
No, the only other thing, congratulations to the coach, is, which I didn't know he was even old enough to have a daughter that would have been done with, but it looks like just kind of looking at stuff and figuring out, his one daughter just graduated vet school. So, like I said, I didn't even know he could have a 25-year-old daughter at this point, or anyone. I thought he was 35 years old. So,
I'm not going to say that comment. Anyways, that wraps up episode 23 of 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. Don't forget to follow us on X at 84 Feet Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints about the age, comments by Coach Cap. 84 Feet Podcast at gmail.com, or give us a follow on Facebook. Just search for 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. Woo! That wraps up the episode. Cap, go enjoy yourself a vacation or something. I guess you deserve a little break before the school.
Yeah, a few days. Yeah, get a few days in the waves, and leave my phone in the house when on the beach, and then get back at it when September rolls around. We'll be right in the gym and getting ready to roll.
Note to self: don't text Cap on vacation.
I'll text back. I think last year my screen time from the week was like 21 hours less than the week prior. So,
all right, well, fine, whatever. You go enjoy your vacation. Go without me. I'm not jealous at all. Whatever. Go enjoy the Cape. Unbelievable. Until next time, I'm Cady. That's Cap. Adios, amigos.
See you guys.